Uh, I think the just going through the 4 years of college has kind of taught me that my love of acting and just storytelling more so lies in the film side as opposed to the theater side, and that's for a lot of different reasons. For one, I really appreciate the fact that with film, um, I mean, theater is this way also, but it's a culmination of so many different arts, composition, um, directing, acting, obviously, and I appreciate the fact that at the end of the day, when everything's all said and done, and when everybody's wrapped and everything, there's a final project that can be carried throughout time, pretty much. That's pretty much endless, and that you can show anyone at any time the best work that you guys created. The interpretation, a lot of the time, is left up to the energy of the night, or like whether the actor missed a line, or you know, just how the crowd is responding.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And how well the set was built. Like there's various things that almost limit the story in a way. I feel like you can tell a more fleshed out, richer story with film,
Mm-hmm.
because for one, the take that you're putting in the final cut is the perfect take, and that's not to take away from the beauty of the fact that it's all in the moment with theater too.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, which is that's one thing that I loved about it when just acting on stage, is that when you're up there, it's kind of the exhilaration that you feel in the moment when it's almost like you almost kind of black out in a sense, which is kind of cool. I feel like it would be kind of related to like being really really comfortable in like a sports game or something, where you're just really really in the flow of it, and like I don't know, you begin. Now we're talking about theater. You begin like, at least as an actor, I would always like start off like anticipating, like kind of nervous about the performance. But when you get up on stage and like the curtains open, you're just kind of you've rehearsed it so many times that you just kind of it's like you're just like speeding down a highway, like you just know what you're doing. It just feels good. It's not that I don't want to act. It's just I feel like I would be good on the controlling end of it. On the end where I feel like a quality of a producer would be definitely their people skills and just their like ability to maintain relationships between various aspects of film, their responsibility and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, I feel like that would be something that I would be good at, definitely. It's somebody that sees the project through to the best quality possible, and make sure, and even more than that, make sure that everyone just maintains a certain level of energy amongst everyone, and make sure that everyone, I mean, especially now with like Harvey Weinstein and everything, making sure that everybody's like comfortable and like enjoying their work environment. And it's not that like the producer can be everywhere at all times and showing that, but at least setting a certain tone with the director, just making sure that the project is sought through in like an honorable way, with like good memories are made. Yeah, man, I definitely think that I would have at least something that I would put a large deal of focus on is that personal relationship that I have with like each department, and making sure that the overall project just feels like one team, where everyone's like comfortable with one another. And I get you said kind of their style. I guess my style would try to be as ear to the ground as possible, especially with the director and the writer. Man. Like because I've been on the acting end. I've written things before, And I know that's one thing that's really cool about Spielberg is because he like is a director. He has a lot of say with like the creative direction of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely I would want to have a say in those things.
Okay. So this actually, like, my other question was if you'd rather be a director or producer, but you, it seems like, would rather combine the two.
Not necessarily. It's not that I would. It would be more that I would like to be like, say the director, was a willing enough person to like communicate ideas with the producer. You know what I mean? Like, if possible, I would love to like sit in on some of those meetings or questions or decisions. You know, but it's not that I would necessarily want to combine the two because there's if possible that would be awesome. That would be insane. But as of now, I would want to tackle them individually, just to gain true experience on both ends, and really like hone in on the skill sets or requirements of both. Oh man, what interests me now that I start looking more into it is how a writer can write something, right? Write a full-fledged script, make it feel a certain, like, they have their own idea in their head, and then a director can take it and basically just with just different, like, he could take a scene between two people that feels kind of happy, right? But add one or two directions and make it feel like nostalgic also. Like add like deeper layers to it. And that's one thing that just going through theater and seeing, like, one thing they would make us do a lot is they would have two actors bring in a scene to perform in front of the class, right? And then the teacher, who was often like really good at directing, would take their work, add like a thing or two, or just suggest a thought to like one of the actors or both of the actors, and it would change the entire feel of the performance. And that's one thing that you wouldn't really see on camera because that work has been done behind the scenes. But I mean, that's a huge part of just acting and also just film and theater, to be honest. Yes, and also kind of no. I think it in a sense depends on the individual a lot of the time, because you hear all the time about like rappers or something that venture into acting in films. They do a great job, right?
Yeah.
Like there's some people who are just like child actors that really don't have any training or class, that are just naturally amazing at it, right? Because acting is one of those things where the key is just coming off as you're behaving naturally, like you're behaving like a real human being on camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if somebody barges in here with an assault rifle, like how would a natural, real human being react to that? And being able to portray that on camera, knowing that it's not real, right? Some people are better than that than others, but at the same time, like there are certain methods and techniques that even the worst actor or even the best actor can benefit from. So that's the reason why I think acting school can be very, very beneficial. There are ways, there are trains of thought to go about to get you out of your head, because a lot of the times with acting, what's getting in your way is just is you're thinking too much, right? So one very popular technique is I learned this in a psychological acting class. One thing you really want to focus on before delving into trying to portray Jim Bob the plumber, right? You first one like angle, a great angle to tackle it at is to first go through the script, read the scenes, and not even try to pretend to be someone else, but literally read it as if you're Leo. Not even attempt to have any other take on it. Just how you yourself personally would react to that, right? And also other techniques are really fleshing out the character that you're trying to portray. Like really not judging what they're doing, what actions the character is taking, but finding ways to make sense of that, even if you're a serial killer. Just the ability to imagine yourself being in that, and the ability to imagine yourself as a serial killer and act that truthfully without judging the character that you're playing. It's difficult. Some people are better than that than others. See, yeah, I mean, that's the thing about acting, man. It's all in your head, right? Sure, method acting might work for this guy, but some people might find it too draining to genuinely believe that they're in that kind of situation every single time. Like, say you're in a scene where your wife is cheating on you and she is like crying, bawling, asking you for a divorce. To be able to put yourself in that kind of scene, take after take after take, is going to wear on you. And so there are methods where people, where it's advised to kind of remove yourself from it and wear the character that you're playing as a costume. That doesn't necessarily... I think the tips that go along with method acting kind of work more so for me, especially with psychological, like real acting, right? Mm-hmm. It's different from playing a comedy character or a vaudeville character or a non-realistic character. Mm-hmm. That kind of works for me. But if I'm trying to portray like a real person, it's the easiest route for me to get to where I need to be is to kind of actually genuinely relate to that character. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And kind of like sympathize and empathize with the given scene at hand and the character. It's different for everyone, man. There's really no right or wrong way to act. Oh, dude, just the fact that he knows that in this kind of like basically with acting and film and directing, you can create any world that you want. That's like one great thing about film and theater is that you can tell a story any way that you want to. There's literally no really right or wrong, as long as you know people are enjoying what they're watching. Like the whole movie is essentially all happening simultaneously, but he tells you like different vignettes and shows you how they all fit together at like different time periods, right? How the last scene is of Jules and I can't remember, but basically they're in the diner and then the people try to rob the place, but that happens right at the very beginning of the movie and it all ties in at the very end. And I appreciate something like that, man. This is actually one of my favorite movies. I really like how it kind of breaks the norm of trying to make it seem as just real as possible. I enjoy that kind of creativity from a director, most definitely. Like about this movie is no one notices it, but I think it's the coolest thing. Is right when the movie starts, it like shows you the title or whatever, and right when it first cuts to the very beginning, there's like a slight, like almost like magical ding that happens, and it's just a cool little composition that happens, but it's almost as if the director and just like the writer kind of put that in there. At least it feels like to me as if it's like a magical like ding that like it's like. It almost feels like it's entrancing me. Like you're about to watch one of the greatest films ever. Like get in, tap it. Tarantino's just cool like that, man. He throws in a lot of. You could really tell he's having fun